Hello dear viewers, and welcome back to the ancient dwarven hold of our ancestors. Apologies for the lateness in this video. The sadness has visited me and laid me low several days, slowing down the progress of video making. Unfortunately, even down here in the ancient hold of our ancestors, I suffer with it just as I would on the surface, but we press on as best we can, dear viewers. It has been warm up on the surface, but down here it is quite cool, with strong dwarven coffee and cake, along with a roaring fire and of course some fun computer games. The computer game I will be talking about today is called King's Bounty Armoured Princess. King's Bounty Armoured Princess is a strategy adventure game developed by Katuri Interactive and published by 1C Company. It was released in the UK in March 2010. Just a quick moment here, dear viewers. If you like what I do here in the Ancient Hold, then please subscribe to the channel. Perhaps give a thumbs up and leave your own thoughts on the series in the comments below. There exists a slew of King's Bounty games out there, all developed by Katuri, including King's Bounty Legend, Crossworlds, Warriors of the North, and Darkside. These games come as a group with near identical graphics and gameplay. If you've played one of them, then you'll know how any of the others play too. I've enjoyed all the games in this series, and for this video I'm playing Armoured Princess because it is the one I remember the least, so it'll be fun to replay and encounter everything anew. Before this series by Katuri was the original King's Bounty, which was released back in 1990 for the Amiga. It was developed by John Van Cunningham and New World Computing. In this game, you move your character around the world, interacting with points of interest and engaging in turn-based combat. It was quite a classic and of course inspired this set of games to be talking about here. In King's Bounty Armoured Princess, you will move around an overworld map, interacting with points of interest like buildings and shrines, as well as engaging in turn-based combat on a hexagonal grid with the forces in your army. So the two games are extremely similar, as you would expect. The graphics of this series are three-dimensional and what I would describe as quirky. The three-dimensional models of your hero moving around the map and all the monsters and things that they interact with are more whimsical and fairy tale-like, rather than trying to be realistic. And this works well, I think. If I see a screenshot of this anywhere on the web or elsewhere in the mighty tomes of the ancient hold, I will immediately know it's from King's Bounty. Yes, it is not particularly flashy or modern looking, but I think that works well not to feel dated after over a decade since its release. Your army, which consists of all sorts of fantasy creatures like elves and ogres and dragons and stuff, all fit into this charm that the game exudes. They are simply animated as they do battle with the opposing forces, swinging their weapons or loosing their bows. Obviously there are dwarf units you can recruit here, and you should pack in as many as you can. Players and enemy generals cast spells which look decent enough, giving good indication of the spell's effect. The sound is simple, providing sufficient feedback as your units dish out or sustain damage from their foes. The music in the background as you play through it is suitably fantasy-like and in keeping with the theme of the game. You begin King's Bounty Armoured Princess in a world known as Darien, besieged by a demon host with seemingly all hope lost in turning back the evil tide. You are sent through space and time to another world known as Tiana in a last-ditch attempt to find the legendary knight from the first game, Sir Bill Gilbert. Once you arrive in this new world, you are soon prophesied to be this great individual that is destined to gather the 8 magical power stones that would lead to godlike powers and perhaps the saviour of your homeworld. Now it is up to you, Princess Amelie, to set out in this new world full of adventure and hope of saving your own. The story is nothing amazing and is set out in long reams of text, almost as long as a good dwarf's beard, but it does enough to set the stage for all the adventuring and questing you will embark on in this game. The main gameplay loop of Armoured Princess, and all the other games in this series, revolves around you controlling your hero, Princess Amelie, around a three-dimensional world map representing the land of Tiana. The world map acts like that of Heroes of Might and Magic, with points of interest like experience shrines and shops to monsters you will be able to confront with Amelie. There is no base castle you control or other armies you need to worry about. It is simply you and your ragtag army taking on the world. When I say it's just you and your army, this isn't entirely the case. When you arrive in this new world, you receive a dragon egg in a colour of your choosing, with different colours having different special abilities. The dragon that hatches from this egg is your companion throughout the game, able to gain new levels and new abilities to use in combat. When you move into a monster on the map or attempt to battle some foe stationed in some castle or other, you'll be taken to the combat screen. This features a hexagonal map set up in the terrain wherever you encountered the monster, i.e. if you confront them in the snow, the combat hex grid will be a snowy outcrop. Your army is set up usually on the left of the screen and is made up of 5 different units. These can range from fantastic dwarves to boring humans and elves, ogres, dragons, and all that. You are free to recruit and deploy whichever units take your fancy. Each separate troop you will have a number upon them which denotes how many there are of them. The leadership value of your hero will directly affect the number of each troop that you can recruit, with some being of such power that you only have a few, like said dragons, or you can have many of them, like the simple peasants with their pitchforks. If you've taken a certain skill, you're able to select which hexes to place your units, otherwise they are placed automatically and you move straight into the battle. Each of the units in the fight will have an initiative value which denotes when they will take their turn. This means if you have a high initiative value, your unit is more likely to have their turn earlier than other units, or possibly even first. When it's a unit's turn to activate, you'll be able to move them a certain number of hexes and or perform an action, like attacking another unit, using a spell, or using some special skill. During a battle, you'll move your troops into position to attack thy foes while trying to keep them from harm themselves. To aid your troops in battle, Amelie is able to cast spells from her spellbook, which can do direct damage to enemy units, lathering them in pain, or healing your own units, or some other spell that helps your units or hinders thy enemies. Depending on what talents you choose and the class you are playing, you will have access to different spells to use and how often you can use them. As a fight progresses, with units attacking each other, your rage meter will start to go up. The rage can be used to instruct your dragon to use one of its special abilities. Like Amelie, the dragon has access to damaging attacks as well as other abilities to help your mighty army or deny the sinful enemy. Each has a rage cost though, so you must choose wisely. Both Amelie and the dragon are untargetable in battle and cannot be damaged in any way. Amelie will gain levels as you fight monsters and complete quests. When she reaches a new level, she'll be given a combination of the 3 different runestones, red, green or blue. The number of each determined by which class you choose at the start of the game. That is, warrior, paladin or mage. There features a skill tree for each of the 3 coloured stones. To unlock a specific skill or talent will require a certain number of runestones, usually in a combination of 2 or even 3 of the 3 colours. I chose a paladin, so when I leveled up I received mostly green runestones, enabling me to get skills in the paladin tree quicker. You can take skills in other trees, there is no restraint, but it will take longer to acquire the right number of runes to do so. The red skill tree focuses on aggressive combat and rage, including talents to increase attack and initiative of your troops, along with those to help with rage used by your dragon. The blue mage tree focuses on the use of magic spells by Amelie. You can increase your mana and intellect, along with talents to help you learn powerful spells and increase the power of the ones you already know. The middle green paladin tree is a bit of a middle ground between the two, with some talents to help you with spells and some to boost the power of your troops. As you progress in the campaign, you and your army will become more powerful and hopefully locate all of the power stones before coming back home and saving your own world. I like this game a lot. I like the whole series a lot even. Though saying this, it is not one I think to appeal to all sorts of gamers. Indeed, I think it will appeal to a certain tactical-minded player who doesn't mind some grinding to power up your army while enjoying tactical and slow-paced combat. I really enjoy wandering around the maps of the world, defeating enemies and acquiring more power for both Amelie and her troops. You can acquire items for your hero like in an RPG and build a character and army of your choosing. The combat isn't world-shaking, but I do enjoy it. There is a nuance and skill to coming out on top, especially in the more difficult combat encounters. Do you rush in, attempt to destroy your foes quickly, or do you hang back and attempt to attack them from range as thy enemy's saddles forth? Should you use your rage now, or save it up for a more powerful attack later? There are decisions to be made here. King's Bounty Armoured Princess just feels fun and simple, yet engaging. If you enjoy tactical combat, weird fantasy worlds, and or are a fan of Heroes of Might and Magic, then I think you should definitely check out this game and perhaps the other games in the series too. You can usually pick them up quite cheap on both Good Old Games and Steam. Give them a go, dear viewers. And there we have it, another video from this here old dwarf down in the ancient hold. I hope you are well, and I will see you next time.